I mean, this is all new, right? This is the first time we have a mayor like this. This is the first time we experienced 54 schools closing. This is the first time we're doing a 3-day march, and this is the first time we see, well, at least in a while, we see so many people mobilizing from all ages, right? So it's really, it feels like the next level is really moving forward this movement.
Again, Karen Lewis, go to the march tomorrow. As president.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
The results of the Chicago Teachers Union 2013 election, the Save Our Union Coalition, 3,291. Okay. Core slate, the incumbents, 12,316. Your president of the Chicago Teachers Union, Karen Lewis.
I am so humbled to be here and stunned at all the work you guys have done. It's like I always tell people I have an easy job. All I have to do is stand up and tell the truth.
Oh, camera time.
Fight the power.
But this fight is so not over. But the good news is they are feeling it. And tomorrow we start our marches.
Yes.
I am glad to see everybody out. I got my red sneaks. I'm ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Our school.
Education is alright.
That is all we have to fight.
Education is alright.
That is all we have to fight.
Hands up our school. Hands up our school. Hands up our school.
The mayor and this school board is about to attempt the largest school closing in the history of this nation. And we are here to tell you once again, as we told their commission and as we told those fake hearings, do not close our schools. Support them and give them resources. That's what they told them. Did they listen? 17,000 people told them that. Did they listen?
No.
They are trying to tell us if our schools are not filled to the brim and busting at the seams, they are underutilized. How many students are there in their children's classrooms? And they've had the nerve to say that this is the civil rights issue of our generation. How do you call this a reform? How can you dare associate what you call this with civil rights when you close schools and snatch up jobs and endanger our children? How dare you call it a civil rights movement when you destabilize our communities, disenfranchise those who live in them, and disinvest our children of their future? How dare you call this a civil rights movement when you resegregate our schools, eliminate diversity in the teaching force, and destroy our communities? We are here to reclaim the meaning and significance and the dignity of a real civil rights movement.
We're no stranger to this fight. It is going on in cities throughout America, dismantling our public schools. And we're certainly no stranger to the fight in Michigan. Let me talk about Detroit. In the last 10 years, the students in Detroit have decreased the number of students by 100,000 students to 59,000. During that time frame, more than half of Detroit schools were closed. No wonder there are less students. No wonder there are less students. And it's not just because there are less people living in the city. It is all connected, right? To close schools, so parents send their children someplace else. You then stigmatize the schools. More parents take their kids someplace else, so you close more schools. This isn't just happenstance that it's happening in Chicago, that it's happening in Detroit, that it's happening in Cleveland, that it's happening in Philadelphia. And what happens as a result of these closings? What's happened in Detroit? I'll take a wild guess. It's happening here in Chicago. Class size through the roof.
Y'all bringing this community back together. Start with the schools, start with the people that's already live here. We are homeowners, and we want our kids to go to a school where they're safe. We shouldn't have to have police escorts to escort our kids to school when they can walk right out of their doors of their houses and go right to school without a police escort. We don't need the police to educate us. We need CPS to leave our school alone and let us get educated.
Right.
We're here to protest the 54 schools that have been slated to close here in the city of Chicago. And we want to show Rahm Emanuel that we are not taking this. We will not stand for this.
No, we will not.
This is hypocrisy and it doesn't even make sense.
Right.
So let's show him today in this walk that we are protesting this, we are fighting this, and we do not agree.
Hello, my name is Natasha Capers, and I'm a parent leader with the Coalition for Educational Justice in New York. My two boys attend public school in Brooklyn, and we currently have faced over 160 closings over the last 10 years under our mayor. We know the impact of school closings in the neighborhoods.
I want to say that we are tired of having all the problems and blame of the difficulties and challenges that we face in the public schools laid at the feet of the people who go to work in those schools every day.
Our school!
What school they closed?
50 of them.
What? Why?
Education is a right! Education is a right!
All of the schools open.
My name is Jesse Sharkey. I'm the Vice President of Chicago Teachers Union, and I'm here at the North Side March for Educational Justice and to stop our schools from closing. It's exciting that there's a march up here. There's simultaneously, it's quite remarkable. There's marches also on the west side and the south side. I think we're covering over the course of the weekend about 46 schools, and you know there's a movement in this city that's fighting for high quality public education, wants to demand that our voice be heard, and to say that the school closing policy is not an education policy.
GEM planned this wonderful 3-day march for education justice, and originally the march was actually going to come all the way north, but we eventually realized that that was an awful lot of marching, so hence they limited the march to the south and west side, something more reasonable for people to do. So we thought, well, we need to have a north side component to the march because we do have the schools up here that are being closed. We want to be organizing in these communities, and most importantly of all, we want to show that the north side absolutely sees themselves in alliance with schools around the city that are being closed, with communities around the city that are being affected by this destabilization and destruction. So the message of our march is we are one in the city. We are all together, and we are fighting for all of our schools to stay open, every last one. Where we're going to go today, we are starting here at Trumbull School. Trumbull has been fighting very hard to stay open. They have statistics to show that they are 88% utilized because of their large special needs population. So we're starting here at the northernmost point of the north side schools that are at risk of being closed. We're going to march down past the mayor's house, so we'll stop briefly there for a prayer circle, and then go by Courtney School. So Courtney allegedly is not being closed, but their building is being closed, and they are being forced to move into Stockton School and change the nature of their school. Those parents are extremely upset because they were never given any kind of chance until the last hearings to be a part of this process at all. They were not on a list. They were not invited to the big hearings. So we'll hear from a parent here. We'll hear from a parent there. Then we're making our way to Stockton School. So Stockton is going to be renamed Courtney School. We'll have a parent speak there. And then we're ending up at Stewart School at Sunnyside and Kenmore, and we'll have a parent speak there as well. And then anybody who wants to go join the West Side March, because again, we are one with the whole march in the city. We're taking cars and we're going to join the West Side March.
I think this is the first time in at least 30 years where there's been a multiple-day march in Chicago around an issue that connects to so many lives. And the mood has been one of exuberance, jubilance, gratitude, solidarity. You know, people coming out of their homes clapping and shaking their fists and shouting and chanting along with the crowd. You know, sometimes I think people come out and don't really know what's going on, and so it's an opportunity to have a conversation about why we're doing what we're doing, and almost universally people connect with that.
I've been living here around 9 years, and I have come to love this school. I see the little kids coming out to school. I see the garden that they have out here that they make use of on the weekend, and they school activity, and most of the kids tried to participate. Everyone tried to participate, even I. And that's why I say, please don't close Henson School.
And we're going to all the different school communities that are impacted by the greatest closure proposal of schools in American history. And we are seeing tremendous community support, outpouring of solidarity against these vicious attacks on the most vulnerable communities in our city. And I think we're also seeing the development of a new set of political alliances, progressive issues that could connect with lots of people in our city and take back our city from the 1%, from Rahm Emanuel and his Wall Street buddies and all the people who are devastating our communities by cutting services in this austerity program.
For Chicago, this is obviously a critical week, considering that the Board of Education is voting on Wednesday on these 54 school closings. So, you know, our activity is in hyper gear these next few days. We're going to have a big rally tomorrow, finish up the march. There's going to be protests at the Board of Education. But on the whole, you know, I think we need to see this model replicated in other cities. Unions need to remember that they are the constituents. They are the members of not just their union, but of the cities that they live in. And they represent the workers and they represent the students. And this march is incorporating workers of all different stripes. You know, we obviously have the unions representing lunchroom staff, security guards, and engineers here in the schools, but there's people from groups like Jobs for Justice and grassroots other organizations in the city. So, you know, I think what we're building is a really broad-based labor community movement that's not just oriented around schools. Clearly this march is focused on schools, but I think we're going to have to stick together on many other issues that we're facing.
These spaces really, you know, help with dialogue and communication between folks who have never experienced this before, or have ever been in, you know, organizing, or have never really been part of a fight, and those people who are experienced, right, who have been doing this for the last 10 years in terms of like education, organizing in the city. Well, we have some really like nice and really peaceful and you know, wholesome visuals like doves and phoenixes rising, but also, you know, the nitty-gritty of the reality that a lot of our students face in the public education system, and what will be a cause or a result of the school closings. We have some great visuals of students by desks and chains on their feet. To some degree, we are in the next level, because when I hear third graders say, you know, we're going to fight for our school, and leading their peers in chants, you know, that's activism, and that's, you know, really young people learning how to fight for what's right, you know. So I think when you see 8th graders, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders staging a sit-in, and you see high schoolers walking out, and you're seeing that more often and spontaneously, I think that is the next level. We're in a different stage, you know, where I think people are more willing and likely to do more than they've been accustomed to.
Education is the key to success. And if you shut schools down, children won't have the opportunity to learn, to become social butterflies, you know, to interact with each other, to actually have a future as far as education or whatever they're learning. So if we shut the schools down, it's lack of resources, you know, the violence will increase because of the commute from different communities and things. So I feel as if the schools should stay open, because education is the most important thing. Not funding, not, you know, anything that the mayor is seeking is not important. The education and the children's safety and being able to learn in a friendly environment is the most important thing. So I say, don't close the schools.
What we know, and this is not some stuff that Coco is making up or any group is making up, but what we know, according to the Chicago Catalyst, December 7th, 2011, that only 18% of the schools that have replaced closed schools since 2002 is high performing. And of that 18%, half of those schools are selective enrollment. So why is there even a debate? Why are we using failed education experiments on black children? Why is that even being accepted? We don't accept that. We say we are not accepting that. Our children deserve better than that. Our children deserve more. So what we're going to do is expose this thing as a farce. And we're going to make sure that people realize that you cannot bring failed education policy no matter how you dress it up.
Here they come, the west side is coming, the south side is coming, the north side is coming. Black people, white people, Asians, Latinos, we are coming together as a unified front to stand up for education justice in this city. Whose children? Whose schools? Whose city? Make some noise, Chicago, they're here. As the west side marchers are here. Come on, show them love. For 3 days, we've marched through Austin, Garfield Park, Humboldt Park, North Lawndale, Cabrini Green. They're here the last 3 days, carrying the message of the people who matter the most. Whose schools? Whose schools? Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Sacramento. Come on, west side, south side, north side. Come on, whose schools? Listen, this guy right here, I'm predicting 2025, he'll be the mayor of Chicago, from the south side of Chicago, from Marcus Garvey Elementary School. Show your love for Sean Johnson.
My name is Deshaun Johnson. I'm from Marcus Garvey School, located on 103rd and Morgan. I'm coming to you today to talk about the school closing. Rahm Emanuel thinks that we all are toys. He thinks he can just come into our schools and move all our kids over gang lines and just say, oh, we can build a building right here. Let's take this school out. We don't care about these kids, but it's kids in there. They need safety. Rahm Emanuel is not caring about our schools. He is not caring about our safety. He only cares about his kids. He only cares about what he needs. He do not care about nobody else but himself. He let Barbara Bird Bennett, a woman that's from Detroit, who don't even know the streets of Chicago, let her come in and close these schools. She should not be closing these schools that need safety and protection. You should be investing in these schools, not closing them. You should be supporting these schools, not closing them. We shall not be moved today. We're going to City Hall. We're confronting Rahm Emanuel. We are not toys. We are not going down without a fight. Like Martin Luther King said, I forgot his name, but he said that it is 90% of school closing in African American. This is racism right here. This is racism. We are black and we are proud. We are white and we are proud. No matter what the color is, no matter if you're Asian, Chinese, it doesn't matter. You should not be closing these schools without walking into them, seeing what is happening in these schools. Education is a right. That is why we have to fight. Education is a right. That is why we have to fight.
School closings have been going on in this town for over 10 years. Clearly, the policy does not work. Instead of looking at it and revisiting it and paying attention to the data-driven masters decide to ratchet it up and decide they're going to close the schools on steroids. You haven't managed closing 7 or 8 schools well. Why do you think you can close 54? You can't even get people who work for you the correct paycheck. CPS will mess up a one-car funeral. But you're going to close 54 schools. Brothers and sisters, this is not over. It is just beginning. This is a movement. This is a movement through the neighborhoods. This is a movement through the city. It is a movement through the nation. Kansas City, half their schools closed. Philadelphia, 23 schools closed. Minneapolis, Philadelphia, you name them. School closings not only do not work, they are harmful. They are child abuse. Why are we continuing to have our children suffer? When people who do not work with children, when people who do not send their children to public schools, when people who do not even live in the city of Chicago tell you they're doing something what's best for the children, and listen to the rhetoric. Listen to the rhetoric. We're not interested in the adults, as if our children do not have parents and communities and people who work with them. This is a movement. And no matter what happens on Wednesday, it is not over. Those of you who think you cannot make a difference, I will tell you now, we will register 250,000 people who will not be voting for that man that's there on the 5th floor. If he likes Washington so much, let's help him go back.
my voice is hoarse. It's hoarse because I've been on a 3-day march. We marched 30 miles through the west side, another 30 miles through the south side, and the north side as well. Out in the communities, and I tell you, in those communities, the opposition to these policies is overwhelming. If school policy is going to be that political, then we need to have some political accountability. And in this city, what political accountability looks like, and it's too bad, it's once every 4 years, that's all we get. That means, electing or unelecting a mayor. And that's not, frankly, what the teachers union is expert at. We're expert at educating kids, at talking about school policy, at things that affect us in our classrooms. But if that's all we're left with, that's what we're going to have to talk about.
This is a movement. And no matter what happens on Wednesday, it is not over.